Good afternoon. My name is Baiba Rubesa. I'm the co-founder of NOVATORE, and I'm extremely honored and frankly tickled pink to have a discussion like this for the coming hour. I'd particularly like to welcome everybody who have made it to the George Soros Auditorium at the Stockholm School of Economics in Riga. And hello to all of you who are joining us from all over Europe and, to the best of my knowledge, even North America. You know, women are the heartbeat of society. Women are mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, lovers, artists, athletes, soldiers, politicians, and entrepreneurs. Nothing thrives without us. Nevertheless, even though in some statistics in the Nordic and Baltic, women have achieved gender equality, there's still a way to go. When I see the prime ministers of Estonia, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, and Denmark make decisions about security, I feel particularly safe, and I aspire to have the same sense of pride and safety in the upper echelons of the business world. We need to hear more women's voices in leading positions in the economy. Now, over a year ago, Dagny Alenia and I founded NOVATORE, www.novatore.eu, to further women's economic empowerment throughout the Baltic Sea region. Why? To improve prosperity for all. According to McKinsey, profitability increases by about 25% in any company if you have at least one woman on a management or supervisory board. In most of Europe, at best about 20% of publicly listed companies have women on their boards. And we know that profitability in innovation increase with more women in leading positions. More women in power leads to more women being economically empowered. NOVATORE works on encouraging women to go for those positions of power. And we believe that the time has come for women to be more prominent in driving economic development and discussing it publicly. Women all over Europe strive for economic sustainability, gender equality, further diversity and inclusion. Why? Again, to attain more balanced representation in impactful positions. But have a look at many roundtable discussions in the media or at conferences, even in Davos. Still, when the so-called big picture is addressed, men are usually talking among themselves. We believe not only in the need for women's economic empowerment, but for the economy to be empowered by women, and talk about it. We've decided to convene the first NOVATORE Impact Summit in Riga this September to advocate women's leadership in the economy, its impact and challenges in the Baltic, Europe, and beyond. And today's NOVATORE Talk will kick off this journey to the summit. Now, one of the keys to business women's success is to have a strong network of the like-minded, and they can also be men, of course. I also know that the cool and reticent North Europeans always need encouragement to network. So, let's start right here and now. To those in the audience, take a look to the right, take a look to the left, introduce yourself, and tell your neighbor why you're here in the first place. And those online, they're all giggling about this. So it's a good beginning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember where you were on Valentine's Day this year? February 14, 2022. You may have forgotten that in most of Europe, we were still seriously into the limitations of the COVID pandemic. Most of us working from home, children learning online, and hospital beds replete with critically ill patients. Businesses all over were anticipating how to address the losses and market changes the pandemic has caused. And the feeling in the air was, we must wait another 4 to 6 weeks, all COVID limitations will be lifted, and we'll gradually get back to business as usual. Fast forward 10 days. February 24, 2022. Russia invaded Ukraine from the north, seriously escalating the war Russia had begun in 2014 in Ukraine's east. A paradigm shift in the blink of a brutal eye. And since then, our societies have been focused on the military or on refugees. Just about everybody with a business has had to reevaluate their operations. My thoughts quickly turned to larger business enterprises in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, but particularly Ukraine, particularly to women charged with larger business entities. What did they face? And with that, let me give the word to Kata Fredheim to find answers to this question. Vice President of SSE Riga.
Thank you, Baiba. Welcome to SSE Riga. Thank you, Baiba and NOVATORE, for organizing this wonderful event. I very much look forward to hearing from our guests, who will be doing most of the speaking today, about how the last 99 days, I think, we had this war impacted business. So before I introduce them, a couple of rules, and that's the fire exit. You should know that. But more importantly, today we are here to talk about business and economics. I apologize to the online audience. Most of the people are sitting in one corner of the room. So we will not be talking about the personal stories. Obviously, everyone has feelings and is very much personally impacted. Instead, today, we will allow us to focus just on business. We will also not talk too much about the politics of it. Again, to be able to focus on what this means for businesses, big and small. So without further ado, may I introduce our wonderful speakers. Zana Zorkstena, who is a serial entrepreneur. She is the former CEO of the Riga Jormala Music Festival, and she's also a founder of Erda and some other companies. And she will be talking about her experience of how her businesses in Latvia have been impacted and what are the plans for the future. And Nadine Omelchenko, who joined us from Ukraine, not Kiev anymore, which she will be talking about. She's the vice president of IT Integrator, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, IT companies in Ukraine. She has a fantastic career and an MBA, and her stories are frankly inspiring. So thank you for driving up all the way from Ukraine for this event. We very much look forward to hearing your stories. And may I actually ask you to start by telling us a little bit how your business was impacted in the last 99 days.
Hello to everyone. Good evening. We are from Ukraine. Now we say like that. I'm a serial entrepreneur, vice president of IT Integrator, and this actually is the biggest supplier of IT services, not software, but IT services in Ukraine. So our annual turnover 2021 was about $45 million. So we work mostly with corporations and enterprises in Ukraine, B2B sector mostly. As you told me, I'm a lecturer at Business School in Kyiv, and I'm a student as well at the DBA program. So for me, also a lot of to be taught. So actually, today I'm very honored to be here and just to share what we did expect and what we did not expect as for the business. Yes. As you know, on February 24th, at 5 a.m., I got a call with one word, started. And my first call was to the driver to take me to the office to run the plan B, because the war against Ukraine did not start on February 24, although that night was very tragic, and with all these airstrikes on Kiev, on strategic sites, and of course this night we will remember it forever. But still, we did understand that something going on, and we were responsible for doing something with that as a responsible business. We just cannot just watch it. We have to do something with that. So of course we developed the sustainable plan, how we would act in this or that situation. We have different scenarios, but just believe that we couldn't imagine for real, that it would happen. So we did not expect. So we had plans, we had our actions, what we would do, but we didn't expect it to be the real one. So I think that the resilience of the company starts with the strategic planning. So now 60% of our business works just because we were prepared. 50% of success is the consequence of strategic planning, proactive strategy, measures, preventive measures, and strong corporate culture of high performance, of high productivity, just to be as a team, just in such very terrible moment of business. And 20% is a result of very prompt response to the situation, and due to our knowledge how to act in the crisis, of course. And because we did a lot of homework. So homework is very important, just to keep the resilience of the business. And as well is very important the resilience of you as a manager, as a top manager. How resilient you are as a CEO. What's your plan B for a family? What you will do with your kids, with your husband, with your grandparents? Because you told that we are business ladies, of course, but I'm also a mother. I'm also have kids, and I'm also a wife, and I'm also a daughter. That's why I have to be prepared for the situation as well. So just keep in mind that you have to take care about your family, just to have time to care about your business. And I see that many top managers forget to decide this question, to take care. And that's why for the first days, our team members, they have to take care about their families, not about business. So it takes maybe several days to move to our backup office to Lviv, and because we were prepared, and so we have the backup office in Lviv, our warehouses, our IT services. So we were ready with all this stuff, actually. And of course, I guess that it was very important for the top managers to keep calm, to show that you are okay, that we are okay, that we know what to do, how we will move, what will be our first steps, just to keep the communication with the people, just to show, just let us know how we can help you with your families, with transportation, with many humanitarian questions. So the main role of me as a top manager was everyone can call me at any time with any questions, because I keep calm and a sense of humor, of course, because sometimes we have to overcome it, yes, but the leadership starts with the CEO to be calm and to prove that everything is okay, that we can overcome even in this terrible situation as we've never been before. We've never been before. We just never can imagine that it would happen to our cities, to our families. We've never know how to work on the air attack and air raid warnings every time. So just the resilience starts with you. So just train your resilience, and you have to know your weaknesses and strengths just to be able to help your team. That's
How
the point.
big was your team, and where did they go after the war started?
We have offices all over the Ukraine, but the headquarters is in Kyiv. About 70% of our team members were in Kyiv, and they have to move. So it was very, very terrible how they moved from the city. And someone just imagined that the main question was the scope and the duration. We didn't believe, couldn't imagine that it would take so long, and the scope, and just you never understand that it is possible to bomb Kyiv. No, it's impossible. Even we do not understand that. That's why the scope and the duration, that was the problem. And now about 25% of our team members are abroad. We communicate them through, they work remotely actually in 10 different countries. So also we have problems with our offices in Kharkiv. And I think the most tragic for us was Mariupol, because there was 14 people, team members, and we were waiting for them to come out.
Did they come out?
Yes.
How much of your business did you lose, if any?
It was very difficult to recover. So we have, for those who in IT, I would recommend many things. If you want, I would share it a little bit later, how IT business can respond to this situation very quickly. And all we know that it's very important to provide IT services. Yes? So, and thanks to COVID, we know how to work remotely, how to transform digitally, and we know all this saying that if you do not have digital eye, so you do not have the future. So that's why we are strong enough in IT. So we provide a lot of IT services. It means that we have to help our clients to keep their sustainability. That's why about 60% of our clients still work, and we will help them to provide their services. Banks, retails, and many other companies like that.
I'll just have one more question. When we spoke online, you had a great term, and that was what it takes to be a wartime CEO. I like that picture of the wartime CEO. So what are the top 3 things that a wartime CEO has to think of?
First of all, you have to forget everything you were told in your business school, just except for maybe some things from crisis management. Of course, I guess you have this course, and I did crisis management, but still there are some good tools from crisis management, quick steps, quick wins, just to share, just to be fast in your changing and how to overcome the resilience of the team members. But still, we didn't have any resilience. Because people did understand that we have to move fast to change our business model, to change our portfolio, even to understand our risks. Yes, and because we just don't remember to understand what risk do you have now in your business, just to secure all this risk now. And you have forgot. You have to forget about crisis management, but because war management is something different, you have to to move very fast. And sometimes I make mistakes, we make mistakes. But the problem is that you have to make very quick decision, and then just if you are mistaken, then you have to adjust your mistakes. That's all. Because the CEO is on front of the company, and for some time I have to do a lot of operational tasks by myself, because our administrative director was on occupied territory, and one of our team members were abroad, and with some of them we lost communication for several weeks. We cannot call them, they cannot call us, so we didn't know where they are. So you have to break the protocol. You should understand that in the real life, how we build business, we have the established structure and business process, and we have the roles, and we know how to put KPIs, yes, key performance indicators. So we move to different concept now, but still we use KPIs. But there is no KPIs here, yes, under war management, and there is no structure, and there are still process. As there are still people, but sometimes there is no people to this function, and I have to replace people very, very fast or do it by myself. I did a lot of things by myself because I have to support my team when they cannot be the part of my of doing some tasks. So that is the first thing, just to know protocol, know structure. Just be fast to change everything. Then very important just to understand that at this time business doesn't compete. We do not compete, we collaborate. So it means that IT market, we united, and with our warehouses, with our unique equipment, because we have to move fast to give it to the army, to support the army. So it's no competence at all, just coordination, collaboration. That's for the market now. And of course, SIA should care about yourself. About my own resilience, where my resources, what should I have done to stay resilient for the long time. So we think, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Today is 100th day of the war. And today we have attacks on our cities. And today we are losing our people. We are losing our soldiers. And what we have to do is to support it. And now business is more about business and volunteering. So we now have double shift. So in the day, I'm a business lady. In the evening, I'm a volunteer, just to help the families, to help the soldiers. That's the question. Because the main challenge is not about to make profit. As we learned, yes, we all know how to make profits, how to earn money, how to innovate. It's cool. I like innovation. And we were talking about IoT, Internet of Things. We were talking about clouds before the war. Now we have to innovate for the army. Yes, there's still innovation in Ukraine. There are still a lot of startups, and we are very proud that about 15,000 new entrepreneurs in Ukraine during these months of war. It is because we have courage to go on. We know how to achieve the goal, and our chief challenge and the goal is victory. And what we are doing to advance our victory. That's all. Our victory is our goal, is our mission. And we do not have any other choice. Just Ukrainians do not have any other choice but to win and to return home.
So before I give the word back to Kata, just a short ad for anybody here in the audience. Nadia has spent the day looking for munitions and bulletproof vests with her colleagues. Not so easy to come by the way, it turns out. So if anybody here has more leads, talk to her afterwards. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just Thank you, Baiba. Just one more question, because I remember when we talked, you had this line about what is the best way to help Ukraine, and that wasn't about bulletproof vests, incidentally. Can you talk about the future and what is the best way to contribute at this stage?
I think that the best way to support Ukraine is to do business with us. Just do business with us. Just share your knowledges, share your competence. Just invite us to your startups. And I want to say that IT sector as well is very cool, actually, advanced. And we do and did great things. So we can collaborate. Just give us the projects, and you know that in Ukraine we have now, and we have the problem before with the cheap money, if we say it, for the projects. And now the finance support is also can be in different way. Just we can generate a lot of ideas. We can help with IT services. We can provide good IT services, not only IT services as well. So we are strong enough. We have courage to do business, and we know how to do business. For example, our company, we started our business in Poland. Of course, we have our business in Kazakhstan, for example, but we believe that somehow we should move to Poland to represent our company here. So we can do a lot of great things here. I think that this is the best way, just to be partners, to collaborate with us, to give us good idea, just because you, of course, have, I guess, a lot of good startups in cybersecurity. We also, the cybersecurity is the main topic now, yes, in this digital war. So that's the field where we can cooperate as well. So just do business with us.
Thank you. I look forward to the questions from the audience after we finish the discussion. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. I feel like it was very valuable and so diverse, talking about resilience, lack of it, future, past, uncertainty. So thank you. And Zana.
Yes. No, I have to start. I'm deeply humbled by, it's by daily sacrifices and courage and real resilience. So on the background of that, I feel like I'm really, I shouldn't even be part of this discussion, because the difficulties we've had are nothing in comparison, but I'll try to add my 2 cents to this discussion still. So yes, as Kata told, my professional life have always been divided in 2 parts. There's business and then there's arts. Business part, is mostly Arda, and Arda is leading employer branding and HR consultancy in Latvia, and we have 2 related startups, which is UpMatch, which focuses on, it's an app that is focusing on reskilling and upskilling, which we find one of the biggest threats and worries us for the future. And the other one, which is Finada, which is a recruiting company that we actually launched together with Ukrainian colleagues, shortly after. That is business part, and then the arts part is I have for 13 years Kim Contemporary Arts Center, and then Riga Jurmal Music Festival, which music festival that took place in real life for 2 years and 1 year that we missed, but has sadly been put on hold for unknown time, for reasons I will explain later as well. But then if we look at the business side, and of course I can't speak of all Latvian companies. There are companies in logistics and productions whose markets were Russia and Ukraine and have been affected, of course, very directly. Most of our clients, and we have roughly 20 in retail, in IT, in insurance, and banking, so quite representative sample. But most of them are fairly focused on Baltic, let's say, market, and their business operations were not impacted directly. But of course, the first weeks after the 24th, especially for HR departments, a lot of focus were on employees. Again, we cannot compare the shock and with the Ukrainian nation and troubles, but similarly to the beginning of the COVID, people were shocked, angry, lost. The war in Europe, 21st century, and HR departments were working a lot on trying to instill some kind of sense of stability or a plan to calm down people. And then shortly after, it moved into different kind of activities helping refugees. That's what also Arda did after first 24 hours, where we literally had to tell everyone, let's try to keep calm, take time off, be with your family, whatever is needed, business doesn't matter in these days. Right after, we moved into thinking of what we can do as a company to help refugees in the situation, and as a result of that, we actually started together with Latvian Export Association and Helve a joint project by creating a portal for jobs for Ukrainian refugees. It was clear that there will be more and more of them, and we could help by helping them to connect with Latvian companies. At that time, National Employment Agency has already sent out a survey asking who are interested and not, but for many reasons, Latvian Employment Agency didn't have basically they're legally not allowed to have information in any other language than Latvian. So you can imagine the usefulness of job ads in Latvian. So we jointly decided, and we have been working with Latvian Employment Agency for years now, that there needs to be additional initiative, and it's been very successful. Around 450 actually companies sign up in willingness, and of course it's both to help, but also companies have been lacking employees for years, so it's also a win for them, I would like to say. So that's that, but the real effects, of course, on businesses will be seen later, third quarter, and it's the inflation, in all energy sector, food sector, production companies. We're working with one big one, and now they still run on reserves of the raw materials they bought previously. Well, that will end, and so I think starting from September, we'll see real effects, and they will be very damaging. If we're talking about business and economics, there'll be additional push for salaries. Already for last year, we've seen the raise in salaries of around 12% already because of supply and demand and lack of skills and workforce. There will be additional push for employers to compensate the results of inflation. So it will be rough for businesses, and we believe that unfortunately some of them will go bankrupt, and we'll see what happens with employment in that respect. In connection to that, and speaking a little bit then about Apmatch and Find Ada, what we are worried on the level of kind of business or economics is that we see that many things are put on hold right now, and investments, we see as well attraction of talent, and there have been little, but we work, for example, with other IT companies in Latvia with global business services, they have worked hard to attract international IT specialists from India, for example. And once the war broke out, they said, listen, we have visa, but we're not going to move to Latvia. You know, your region is too risky. And I think Nadia is completely right. You know, one way of helping is by believing the region, you know, by investing, by doing business, by attracting the talent, by creating jobs, you know, because ultimately, you know, it doesn't work without them. And that's the part, yes, as I told, I'm worried as well in HR perspective, which is my field, that we see that many HR-related efforts, reskillings, upskilling, everything that is deemed to be nice to have is set, you know, for later. You know, we have to prepare. Winter is coming, and it's a time bomb in a different way. Yes. And Finata as well is an interesting story in that relation, because we have actually planned for 2 years now to launch a different kind of recruiting company that would be mostly digital and focusing on local market and exclusively. And once the war broke out, we saw that it's unethical to start a new business. So how can you start a business when people are dying? And it was actually our colleague Anastasia from Ukraine saying, no, you have to. This is the time to start the business, you know. This is the time to offer people job. A job gives structure to life, you know. And that's how we decided, okay, then we're gonna go ahead, because we have put it on hold, and we thought, you know, it's not a good time. So yes, that's the part that has to do with the business. But again, you know, this is nothing in comparison. And yeah. When it comes to the arts, it's a different situation. Contemporary art world, and when it comes to the Kim, we have seen, of course, as well, it all boils down to specific people. You know, it's like I think organizations in Latvia were, you know, equally shocked. And again, after first day, you know, pretty much on Monday, we started debating what can be done. And Kim as well started a fundraising campaign to artists donated works. Kim sold them, and together we raised, for our size of organization, substantial sum of money. And we see the same for the Baltic organization, yet if you go to Venice Biennial, the biggest event of the arts, you'll see little or no war, and that is slightly troubling. Okay, you can understand that most of the expositions have been planned, you know, at least a year ago, and this is just results, and the preparation work started, you know. Yeah. But still, it seems that it's kind of in a different reality, and so. Riga Jurmala Music Festival instead has, as I see it, has been a collateral damage of the soul. So Riga Jurmala Festival has been a very big project, inviting leading orchestras from whole world. It's of course a very costly enterprise or initiative, and
It's a classical music festival?
it's a classical music festival. The whole idea is 4 weekends, each anchored by one of the leading orchestras. And in this world, the time planning happens within 2 to 3 year range. So you invite Boston Symphony Orchestra 3 years ahead, and you hope that they will be tour, that it coincides with their tour in Europe. And in our case, we had invited Mariinsky and Valery Gergiev 3 years ago, and right as the festival. Right as we have had the most successful season so far, huge ticket sales, tons of group tickets bought by our international guests. Just on Saturday in Latvian television, where we were nominated for top event of the year. I was saying finally, much like Baiba said, finally one normal summer.
Yeah.
You know, it's very optimistic. None of us believed so. There were no plans B or C. We were going for best summer ever. And yes, right from the morning of the 24th, we understood that both for financial, moral, and reputational reasons, we will have to cancel and put festival on hold, because not only, of course, programming, but these were one of the first things that were brought up. So we got a lot of calls from journalists asking, so what about Valery Gergiev? Unfortunately, is turns out a loud supporter of regime. We also have supporters among our 23 supporters that were later included in sanction lists. So we understood that, yes, as I told, for financial, reputational, and moral reason, we would have to restructure, we would have to find other means of funding, and we would have to think of a new concept for the festival as well. It would have to be smaller, focusing more on region artists and so on and so forth. But all that requires time. And the first step for us was to take care of the artists. We have more than 450 to inform about it, and take care of our audience. So to inform more than 1,000 ticket buyers about doing that. So yes, but as I told, it's what is important, I think, is peace, but not at any price. Putin has to be defeated, both military but also ideologically, which I think will be harder. And yes, we help the most we can. My family has welcomed also a refugee family living with us from the second week of the war and doing other things, but you must go on, and one of ways, and a good way of doing it, is by doing business and giving people jobs.
Thank you. I very much like the stories of, resilience and lack of, actually,
Yes.
and how it's all very much a
Yes.
moving sort of space. However, I think the time has come to ask the audience what they would like to know about your experience and thoughts. So you seem to have a microphone.
I have a mic.
We have an
Okay,
audience. May I ask you to ask questions? And can we just ask questions to one speaker only at a time, if that's possible? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, very informative. My question is to Nadine. Two interrelated questions. You spoke a number of times about the unexpected development of the war that happened. Would you tell us why it was unexpected? Is it because Putin and Lavrov kept on saying we're not going to invade? Is it because you thought that given the consequence of Western reaction, Putin would back down? Maybe he was delusional. And within that context, now that we're 100 days into the war, I understand that Russia says that they have to win. And I've heard this from a number of senior Russian officials, including their national security advisor. And I've heard the Ukrainians, including the president, saying we have to win the war. Well, both sides, theoretically at least, can't win the war. But there has to be a fine line where both can say we won the war and reach some sort of an agreement. Based on your own personal opinion and your family and colleagues, where do you think that line could be where both Ukrainians could say we won and the Russians could say we won? Thank you.
I will start maybe with the first question while we are talking about uncertainty. Yes, and of course, this is the worst scenario now we have in Ukraine. And it's very easy to imagine, but it's very difficult to have the war online, to live during the war. It's a different thing. And when we were making our plans, we didn't know that we should care not about only team members. We should have cared about the whole family, about animals, about homes, and many people, they didn't want to leave their home at all. And many people, they used to work remotely, and they tell us, we are okay, we can stay at home, in Bucha, in Irpin, and in many other cities, small cities, and then it wasn't okay. That's why so many uncertainty. Then the situation changes every day, so on our front, yes, here. And first of all, we thought that we would come back to Kyiv in 5 days. So it's okay, just in 5 days we will come back to Kyiv, everything is good. Then after 1 month, we understood that we wouldn't come back to Kyiv, and we didn't know where we could come back to Kyiv. And that's why so many uncertainty. Now I came back to Kyiv, and we decided to work on the air attacks. So just we have to care about job security and about life security. That's why we checked if the bomb shelters is okay. Just we gave all the protocols how to act, to react under the air attacks to our personnel. And why it is very important for Ukrainians to believe in the victory. Because there is nothing but the victory. There is nothing that we give. It's about lives. It's about lives of our kids. It's about lives of our women. It's about lives of our soldiers. We do everything what is possible to help, to support our army. We ask you to do business with Ukraine just because we must work, we must do business, we must pay taxes, we must pay wages, we must secure jobs for our people as well. That's very important, and that's my call, that's my duty to struggle for business, because it's not the crisis. It is a problem of existential threat, whether your business will survive or not. That's the question. That's why the big resources for Ukrainians is our victory. It's our motivation. It's our goal. It's our belief. That's all for us. That's why, of course, we do not know where it will take, how long it will take, how many lives it will take. But we believe that we'll win.
And
no,
we promised
no other choice.
no political strategizing for either side. There you go, next question.
Hi, I would like to know how you take care about yourself. You told us that the third is the most important, is to take care about yourself. I can't speak about everybody in this hall, but I remember my first emotions were to call my husband's relatives in Lviv, just to be sure that they are fine, then to go to the meetings and to donate, and at the same time I had to keep in my brain, I have to smile to the sun, I have to kiss my husband, I have to play with my cat, because I have to keep living. What are your tips and tricks? How are you keep living? I'm sorry maybe for not very delicate question, but I just...
I do understand about my own resilience. First of all, I would say that my volunteering job helped me a lot, because I think I believe that we did and we do a lot of critical things for our soldiers, because our soldiers can call me and say, Nadia, we need this or that, and then I decide, oh my God, where I can take it, and then it means that my entrepreneurship skills here, so I know how to do that, how to help people, how to help my soldiers. My husband and my brother are fighting now, and so it is the best motivation to help them, to support them, and I believe in God. and that's also the face of God is my own resources for me. And I believe in my team because I have, I have great team in my company. So it means that I help them, I support them, and my team supports me. And somehow we communicate. And when I'm weak a little bit, when I'm stressed a little bit, they give me the motivation to go on. My husband, my family, my country, my president, my people, all the Ukrainians are great. And I'm very honored now to be the leader. You just understand that it's very so to be honored because our people are really great. They do so much things now. They so innovative. They are so hardworking. They are well educated. They are with a good sense of humor. So even now we believe. That's why we believe in our victory. So our victory is our resource as well.
We have time for 2 more questions. I have one right here. Anybody else?
No.
Yes, hello, Nadia Toby Moore. I run a venture capital firm here in Riga, and some of our companies use IT services in Kharkiv and Kiev, and are happy to provide more business. I have, and also thank you for coming to Riga. It's very inspiring. I have a resilience question. So you mentioned that you had plans then leading up to the 24th of February, but this has been going on for 8 years for you. So with the plans and then the backup warehouses, the backup IT systems, so how much do you actually train and practice people to say, okay, let's test the fire alarm and everyone out of the room now, and really that sort of testing in addition to just plans on paper?
We started to develop our Plan B in January. So we made it firstly on paper, of course. And the question was where to have this backup office. Where to go, where we should go. Should we go to Odessa, to Zaporozhye, or abroad, even to Poland, to Krakow? That's why the first point was to choose where to go if something happens in Kiev, yes. So we choose Lviv, and then we started to build our backup office there. We have an office there, so and that's why it was very easy to build our backup office there with all IT services, resolved services. So we have now 2 offices that can work remotely in Kiev and in Lviv, yes. And it takes about 1 week to do it on hand, on the premises, just 1 week. And just before the war, we had so-called trainings. We started to train our personnel how to act in Lviv, and the war started. That's why somehow we were very quick to move with all our staff and to all our services to Lviv just in 1 day. We did it, and we also moved our warehouses to west of Ukraine. So many companies did it, or did it in the first days. So they moved their warehouses to the west. So 1 week is enough if you are prepared. If you are IT company, just one day. And now, if you are IT company, you know that the cloud is our solution. So use cloud decision SaaS, so you can do it.
Thank you. Last question, please, Vanda.
First of all, thank you, Nadine, and thank you to all of the speakers. Would you say that there has been a change in the business culture in Ukraine in light of mostly men fighting and mostly women running business? Is it going to be a long-term impact? Are we going to see more women leaders in Ukraine, given the situation in war?
It's actually a very good question, because we started with the same question. Baiba started to speak about that we need more women on board, and the same situation in Ukraine. For example, I am the first lady in the company, an IT company. So many businessmen, they do not know and didn't know how to behave with the blondie. And just they didn't believe that, oh, you run IT company, really? Yes, I run it. And I don't think that we would have so big change here. So because we have a man who have different tasks. One are fighting, and we support them, and we have also economic front as well. So we have to fight for our economics, just because war is very expensive. War is very expensive. That's why we have to support the war. Not the war, but the fight. So I hope maybe we will see the change in women role and model in business, but maybe in 1 or 3 hours. This year, I guess not.
Yes.
Years.
Yes.
Hours is a good one. I'd love it.
I was also that
1 or 3 hours. And with the thought that everything can change for women in 1 to 3 hours, I would like to thank Nadia and Zane for participating today. Please, let's give them a big hand. I think all of us have been extremely touched. First of all, that you even agreed to share the stories and share sort of insight into your own roads to resilience, whether they're in your heads, in your fingers, or actually in reality, and especially in the face of war upending your business. You know, I'm a child of refugees. There are quite a few of them here in the audience, as a matter of fact, and the thought of, you know, things changing at the drop of a hat, and what do you do thereafter, you know, is inspiring, deadly inspiring to listen to in very many ways. I think we have two great takeaways. First of all is the wartime CEO. If anybody writes blogs, this is the one to write about, which is you know, I think will become more of a thing. Novatore's gratitude goes especially to the Stockholm School of Economics in Riga, and in particular its vice president, Kata Fredheim, to make this happen. So thank you very much, Kata, in our own right. Frankly, this event is just a sneak peek that Dagnia and I and Lyma have organized into what we expect to offer on September 22 and 23 in Riga at the first Novatore Impact Summit. We think we'll still be looking at the upheaval from war in Ukraine and the impact from even then continued, I think, pandemic management. Here's a very, very succinct insight into what we believe day 1 and 2 will be like. We're looking at speakers from all over the globe and hope that in a month's time we will be able to come up with a more precise program than this, but it should hopefully whet your appetite. We believe in building a women's and society's resilience for peace, security, and prosperity. All three are important. Society is important, and women's role therein is very important. But to close, I'll be very frank. To make it happen, we need your support, not moral support. That always helps, but actually financial support. We continue to seek good sponsors for the event, but just as importantly, we invite you to consider coming to the event itself. It's possible if you take a look at www.novatore.eu and take a look at the summit. You can already buy early bird tickets. Every single euro helps us to see how we can do it. To those in the audience, to those actually online, thank you very much for staying with us this long. For those that are here in the audience, you have the opportunity to have a glass of wine with us, which you will pay for yourselves, at the wine bar called Noble on Elizabeth Sila at Antonius, and can join Nadia. Both Zane and Kata are mothers to very, very new citizens to the world, so they may not make it to the wine bar. But if you want to talk with Nadia and ourselves a little bit further for the next hour, that's possible just around the corner from here. So in the end, all I can wish everybody is peace to all and au revoir somewhere, someplace. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you.